Hey YouTube, Rob here, back with another video. Today I'm doing once again, or end of the month style video, and I think it's end of September, so I thought I'd better make a video of sort of what I bought recently and what I've managed to watch. This is probably going to be a bit different. It's probably going to be more of a sort of bought and watched style video. I haven't necessarily bought, well I have bought sort of a lot of stuff I think, which just hasn't come yet in the mail, so I've only got a few new things here, but I do have some things that have sort of watched, so it's probably going to be a bit of a bought and watched style video. So we'll get into it. Okay, first one's here is actually a box set which I bought a few months ago. Actually, I think I bought it. I bought it online. Got it. I think I got it like a day or two after. Sort of made my video where I was saying I was going to take a break from YouTube for a while. So, and I forgot to sort of show up my last video. So I'm showing it now. That's the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection, which I think I bought from I think Amazon. I think they might have had a deal of the day or something, and I can't remember how much it was, but it was really cheap. I think I remember it being I think it's 15 films in here. I think it was, I don't know, $40, 40 or something dollars, or something like that, 40, 50, which I thought was a pretty good deal at the time anyway. So what's on this one? We've got Saboteur, Shadow of a Doubt, Rope, Rear Window, The Trouble with Harry, The Man Who Knew Too Much, Vertigo, Psycho, The Birds, was it Marnie? Marlene, anyway. Torn, Curtain, Topaz, Frenzy, and Family Plot. Plot, not pot. Family Plot. Yeah, so that's that. It's a great set. Yeah, so I've got a few films in here to watch. I think I've seen a few of these ones. I don't think I've necessarily seen them all though. So so that's Alfred Hitchcock, great collection. Next film here is actually a film that I sort of showed in my last update, but I hadn't sort of watched it at the time. That was Frances Ha, which is just a bit of a it was a bit of a blind, but I had sort of heard a few people had sort of heard it was supposed to be a good movie though. So that's sort of why I picked it up, even though it was a bit of a blind buy. It was actually quite good. I actually quite enjoyed this one. It did sort of remind me a lot of a Woody Allen film. It was a very sort of dialogue-driven style movie. It's sort of about Frances here, and so the film sort of starts out with her and her best friend sort of thing, and they're very sort of close friends, and sort of spend all their time with each other, and they sort of live together and just really get on really well. And in some ways they could probably even be confused for a bit of a lesbian couple sort of thing, because they are do spend pretty much 24/7 with each other sort of thing. And the film sort of starts off, and Frances's boyfriend sort of asks her to move in with him, and I think she doesn't sort of say, but I think she would like to perhaps to move out with him, but she doesn't want to hurt upset a friend, because in some ways this very sort of codependent on each other, I suppose. So she knows if she sort of leaves, then it's going to upset a friend. So she so she sort of says no to her boyfriend, and but then of course like a week later, her friend sort of does the same thing. Her boyfriend asks her to move out, which she does. So we do sort of spend the rest of the film pretty much just sort of following Frances around, and just sort of her life, I suppose, over the next few weeks sort of thing, and just I guess about her being by herself, I suppose, and sort of thing. But actually, really good, really nice, sort of lots of dialogue to it, and Frances here, she's very much a bit of a sort of bit useless, I suppose. She's very much a klutz, and she keeps falling over all the time, and says the wrong thing, and kind of sort of no idea what she's doing, sort of thing. She's she's a very nice, sort of nice and sweet girl, but she's just pretty hopeless, sort of thing. At, trying to find a job and trying to make friends, and nothing ever sort of quite works out. And she just sort of blunders through life, I suppose. In some ways, but yeah, it was a good film though. Definitely one that probably a film that probably needs to be watched a few times, I think, too. Because a lot of you sort of miss bits of dialogue and certain things happening. Yeah, so that's that one. That was pretty good. I thought that one. Next is a film I have sort of talked about before, because I did sort of show it in an update. A film that I guess in some ways you sort of either love it or you hate it. And it was a film that, you know, got a lot of buzz, and a lot of people were saying it's a really great film. And so I was sort of curious to sort of see it, and I did sort of give it a watch. And I did sort of talk about it in one of my updates I did quite a while ago. And I feel I didn't necessarily think it was all that well. It was a good film, I thought, but it's just people sort of hyped it up, so perhaps I was a bit sort of overly hyped for it when I was sort of going into it. Anyways, that's Cabin in the Woods. I did sort of want to, perhaps give it another watch, and because people, do sort of say that it's, quite a good film and, quite a good movie. And so I did sort of watch it again, and I still sort of had the same sort of thoughts, I suppose, as what I did the first time, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, and, no offense to people that do like the movie, because it is a sort of a fun watch, I guess, and it does have some sort of nice ideas to it, and it does have a bit of a twist sort of, towards the end, which I won't spoil, because that's, I don't want to spoil it for other people that haven't sort of seen it. I mean, people are sort of saying that, it's very original, but I don't know, I just didn't sort of necessarily find it all that original. It just sort of reminded me of a lot of other films, 13 Ghosts, and some of the Saw movies as well, and a few other sort of films as well. It was, I don't know, I just, I don't know. I just sort of felt that it was just, I don't want to spoil the twist, but it was, the film itself was very sort of overly complicated when it didn't necessarily need to be overly complicated. I mean, I understand it was, I do understand it's only a movie, and maybe I'm sort of over-analysing perhaps the storyline a little bit, and because it doesn't necessarily make, to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, sort of thing. Just, overly complicated, when it doesn't sort of need to be. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, as I said before, it's, it's a fun watch, and the idea behind it, I suppose, is, quite interesting. But it just wasn't as sort of amazing, as I was sort of, as I thought it was going to be. People were sort of hyping it up really high and saying it's really good, and I didn't sort of get that vibe from it. But anyway, that's Cabin in the Woods. Next one's a bit of a sort of a movie classic, a bit of a sort of horror comedy, I suppose. I think from 1990, I think. I'm pretty sure I've sort of shown this one before, I think, in one of my other updates. That's Arachnophobia. I haven't sort of seen, I think, since when it first sort of came out back in the 90s. I think that's probably the last time I saw it. And I did sort of, I want to give it a bit of a rewatch. It was actually a really good movie. It was actually held up quite well, I thought. I think it gets like 6.4 or something on IMDb, which I think is a particularly low score, I think, for, quite a good movie, I think, really. It's also sort of done all before. There's no CGI on this one. It's all, practical effects and real sort of creature effects. I think I did read that it's actually Jamie Hyneman from the Mythbusters TV show. This is actually one of his very first jobs that he ever sort of had, apparently. Sort of doing the creature effects for this. Not necessarily probably a overly scary movie, I suppose, but it's more of a sort of a creepy, sort of eerie sort of movie, I guess. You sort of, I sort of feel like I was sort of, something was crawling on me when I was sort of watching it, sort of, sort of you have this feeling of something, spider, running over your skin or something, That's kind of what I was feeling when I was sort of watching it. But definitely a good movie though, I thought. Just sort of fun, very well put together, I think, movie. So that's Arachnophobia. On to some horror ones now. I have sort of shown these two before, but I did sort of watch them the other day, so I thought I might sort of talk about them. Both films are by Lucio Fulci. I think that's how you pronounce his name. First one here is, this is City of the Living Dead, which I just sort of watched it, and to be honest, I thought it was a little bit sort of, wasn't that great. Very sort of slow movie, and I was perhaps a bit bored, perhaps watching it. Had some really nice sort of gore effects to it though, and nice sort of practical effects. But it's just storyline wise, it was just it just sort of dragged on a little bit too much for my taste. I think it's about sort of a priest that sort of he sort of kills himself, so he sort of commits suicide, and that sort of opens up the gates of hell, sort of thing. So these sort of zombies sort of come back to life, sort of thing, and attack everyone. But yeah, it was alright, I suppose, but just a little bit, perhaps a little bit boring, I thought, if I have to be honest. Yes, that's City of the Living Dead. This one here I did actually like a little bit more, I think. That was House by the Cemetery. This one wasn't quite as kind of slogging out, I suppose. But it wasn't quite as boring, I didn't think. It's actually reminded me a lot of the Conjuring movie, which sort of came out a couple of years ago. Very sort of similar sort of storyline to it. It was very sort of similar sort of premise to it, and again, very nice sort of special effects to it, and gore effects, and sort of creature effects too. Sort of got just about a family that sort of moved into this new house, and there's something sort of living there. So it's just sort of about sort of the family, I suppose, and them moving in, and sort of these sort of strange things sort of happening, and they do eventually sort of find out what it is, sort of in the basement, sort of thing. But yeah, it was I actually quite enjoyed this one. Actually, I thought it was a lot better anyway, I thought, than City of the Living Dead. That's House by the Cemetery. I picked up a new release. Well, two old movies, I suppose, but it's a new sort of digibook release. That's Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Both great movies. I'm a big fan of these two movies, even the second one, which a lot of people don't necessarily like as much, but I also think they're both good movies. I think it's like a digibook, I think, this one. Yeah, very cool edition. So that's Ghostbusters. Classic films. Actually, another horror one, actually. I did sort of watch the other day. It was actually a sort of out of 4-pack. So I've got David Cronenberg's Shivers, which I never saw seen before, and I thought I'd give it a watch and see what it was all about. Well, actually, it wasn't particularly that great of a movie, I didn't think. It was quite an interesting sort of movie to watch, I suppose, but I feel it didn't necessarily sort of go anywhere. It's like sort of set in like a hotel, I think, and this doctor, and he comes up with this idea of sort of for patients to sort of have like the liver's failing or something. You sort of come up with the idea of sort of creating this sort of parasite that will sort of take over the function of the liver and do the job of the liver. So he sort of obviously creates this parasite and puts it into a human body to sort of test it out, and the film is just sort of about sort of the parasite that sort of goes from person to person in this sort of hotel and sort of takes over their bodies, and people sort of end up with this big sort of sexual orgy, type of thing. So it was, very sort of interesting, bizarre sort of idea or premise behind the movie. But just, it doesn't necessarily sort of go anywhere, though. It's sort of, the first, 40 minutes of the movies, you think, this is actually, quite a good sort of premise to it, and, but it just sort of, it just doesn't seem to sort of go anywhere, and you just sort of just starts to sort of drag on a bit too much, and you're not really quite sure where it's going, sort of thing. And but it was, I don't know, it was a nice sort of interesting sort of premise to it, which did sort of I guess in some ways sort of keep you, sort of kept me sort of watching it. But it was, it just didn't seem to sort of, go anywhere, sort of thing, storyline wise. But I've sort of read a few comments on IMDb, and people have sort of said that an interesting movie, but what's the point of it? What was sort of the idea, or what's the message, sort of behind it all? But yes, that's Shivers. Okay, last film here is actually a film I did sort of show, I think, in my last update. Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. Now, this is actually a very sort of bit of a bizarre film, I thought. Got Uma Thurman here, and she was sort of born with these really long thumbs. So she sort of spends pretty much her adult life sort of hitchhiking. I suppose that makes sense. Just across America and just all over the place, and she's supposedly supposed to be the best hitchhiker in the world, sort of thing. And She can sort of, get a ride whenever she wants to, sort of thing, and it's just, I don't know, why not? And she just sort of ends up going to this. I think it's like a health farm, I suppose, for I guess fat women. I don't know. She sort of meets this other girl, and they sort of have a bit of a lesbian relationship type thing, and it's a bit hard to explain the storyline, I suppose, to it, but it's I did actually quite enjoy it. It was actually sort of very sort of bizarre and interesting, and some of the acting was not necessarily all that great, but I think it must have had some sort of amateur sort of actors in there, I suppose. But it was in some ways sort of an interesting sort of watch, I suppose. So it probably would be one to probably check out if you get a chance. It was just very bizarre. So that's Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. So that's that. So that's my update. I've got a few more things coming. I bought the the big sort of Halloween box set. I think that should be on the way to me right now, I think, from America. I have sort of heard about the I think disc 4 is supposed to be faulty, and some of the audio is supposed to go out of sync with the picture. I have sort of heard about that, and a few errors, I think, in the book as well, in some of the linear notes apparently, and so there's a few problems with the set. So which is I don't know, not that great, but anyway, I just sort of make an order through Arrow Video, and bought a few titles through there, and a few other things I think I've got on order as well. So they'll probably be my next update. Yes, that's it. So thanks for watching. If you saw any of these films, sit and leave a comment and tell me your thoughts. I love reading comments. So that's it. So I'll see you very soon. Bye.